Like first, let's speak on your childhood and the dominoes that led to you going through an unfortunate period in your life.
Hmm. Great question, man. Great question. And a lot of people like to start with that, the peak of the iceberg instead of going to the bottom of the iceberg. I believe
Right.
that a lot of decisions are made as a result of what takes place in our childhood for the most part. For me, I had a fairly decent childhood all the way up until about 16 years old. There was a tragic happened in my life, man. I lost my mother at 16 years old. Losing my mom's. I remember one day I came home and we had this disagreement about me washing dishes. As simple as the argument was, it was about dishes.
Hmm.
I ran into the house, expecting to just run in the house, drop my book bag after school, and run back out the house to go play with my homies. And my mom was like, "Nah, you need to wash these dishes." She wasn't feeling 100%. She was a little sick, but I didn't factor all of that in at the time. So we got into this big argument. I pouted as a 16-year-old. Before you know it, I washed the dishes. I stormed out of the house. Came back later that day. She was like, "I'm going to talk to your father about your behavior because that was uncalled for. How you responded to me about the dishes." So I was like, "Yeah, whatever." So my dad came home and he chastised me. He punished me. He disciplined me. Put it that way. And and I went to bed that night upset with my moms. I was like, "Man, I don't want to say nothing to you for the rest of the night." And I walked out of the house the next morning to go to school. And within about 3 hours later, my cousin came to pick me up from school and said, "Your mom passed away."
Wow.
So that to me, processing the fact that my mom's died, and I felt like she died upset with me. And I felt like, yo, I didn't get a chance to apologize to her. I was insensitive. So I internalized a lot of that guilt. And that guilt just turned into building that iceberg that led to the peak of the iceberg, which my peak of the iceberg was when I was 19 years old. I ended up taking a person's life as a result of a lot of poor decisions, a lot of poor decisions from 16 to 19 years old just put me in that cold state of mind where I was very inconsiderate in the life of another human being. I just wanted to die. So if I wasn't going to die, somebody else was going to die. And it was all consumed with the grief and the guilt that I was carrying and never was able to articulate that pain of how it felt to lose my mother at the time.